Hi, I'm Jenny. Welcome to my channel. Today's card video is done entirely with dies. The only stamp I used was the sentiment stamp. I used pattern paper cardstock, Copic markers, and a die set from My Favorite Things. So come check it out and let me know what you think about cards with no stamps. Thanks for stopping by.
The first die set I decided to use for this card is this My Favorite Things Hot Chocolate Cups or Hot Cocoa Cups Dynamic. I also pulled in a Lawn Fawn Snowflake die and a Spellbinders shape die to add a little bit of design to the background. I'm not sure what this one's called. I have had it forever. My card base is a piece of craft colored cardstock. It's half of a sheet of paper, so it's cut at 5 1/2, and it's scored at 4 1/4, and it will make a 5 1/2 inch across, 4 1/4 inch tall card that opens on the top, a landscape style card. And I'm just going to keep burnishing that fold line with my bone folder so the card doesn't pop up as a whole bunch. It's kind of hard to put your card together when the top flap keeps popping up. So here's that shape I cut out with the Spellbinders die, but I didn't really like the white core of that paper showing through. So I have pulled in my Tonic Studios craft mat and a Distress Oxide ink, I think it's walnut stain, and a blender brush. And I'm just going to blend out that white core with the blender brush. It wasn't super noticeable until I put it right against that craft cardstock, and then it really stuck out way more than I wanted it to. So I'm just going to kind of blend that white core of the paper in so that it's not so visually glaring. And then because I had blending on the pattern paper, I needed blending on my cardstock or my card base. And then because I had blending on my card base, I pulled out my Copic markers to do some shading on all the die cut pieces. It's just like this rabbit hole you drop down. So there are all of the hot chocolate cup pieces that I've cut out, and I'm going to use my warm grays, W0, W2, W4, and W6 to add some shading to all of these pieces. So the first cup I cut out is from a red cardstock. It was just a piece in my scrap pile. I don't know what color or brand it is, but it's a pretty red. And the second one is this green, and I'm just adding some shading from the corner, or from the sides in, starting with the darkest and going to the lightest, but not completely going across the cup. I don't want to fill it in. I just want to add that idea that it's round. So here's the whipped cream die cut, and it looks like I am just making a huge mistake right here. And no lie, I about had a heart attack. I thought I was going to freak out. That is so dark. But against that white paper, that is really dark for whipped cream. But when you put it up against the hot cocoa and the cups, it is perfect. So I'm glad I waited till the end before I had a heart attack and scrapped it all and started over. Now, this die set has one big marshmallow and 3 little marshmallows. And yes, I did add shading to all of the tiny, tiny marshmallows. And for real, because I had the whipped cream, I probably didn't need the marshmallows, but hey, they were there, I cut them out, so I'm going to use them. This is the little die part that goes on the top of the mug that is the hot chocolate. And I did add a little bit of shading to that because, hey, like I said, it's a rabbit hole. I went down it. And this is 2 little pieces of chocolate that also got some shading. And in the video, it's really hard to see, but in real life, it does add that little bit of extra something. The snowflakes I cut out of a glitter paper, so I didn't add any shading to them. And these little gray things are steam. And yes, I added shading to the steam. Now I'm going to assemble these cups. And liquid glue and I are frenemies. I love what it does for me, but I end up with it all over the place. So I'm trying really hard to keep my fingers clean and use my tweezers, and then the first thing I do is go and put my fingers in the glue. Gratefully, Tombow Mono dries clear, so I don't have to worry about globs of white glue all over my project. And also, I'm going to be covering up that little clump of glue with this whipped cream. And see, you can see when you add it to the chocolate and the cup, it does not look like I totally colored my whipped cream brown. It just looks like a pile of whipped cream on top of a yummy cup of hot chocolate. All right, so now I have my cups and whipped cream assembled, and I'm going to start decorating the cups. I have those 2 snowflakes from the Lawn Fawn die cut, and I'm going to glue those right into the middle of each cup, which might kind of defeat the purpose of shading them, but it still gives the illusion that the cups are round, or at least that's what I'm going with. The shading with the Copic marker made the cups look more round. Okay, so we're going to assemble the card. Here is the die cut piece of pattern paper, and I'm going to put that right in the middle of my card base. And I think it's a little high, but whatever, we're going to ignore that. I'm going to add these hot chocolate cups with that big mama roll of double-sided foam tape that you can get on Amazon. I looked on my Amazon the other day to see how long I've had this roll. This roll that I'm using in this video that I shot in November of 2019, I bought in July of 2018. The thing lasts forever. And as you can see, I am not using it sparingly. There is a whole lot of foam tape on those little hot chocolate cups. So in order to figure out where I want them, I'm going to take the paper backing off of one cup and just kind of lay the other one down there, figure out where I want them to go, and then stick one down, and then take the paper backing off the other one. I have been known in the past to try and stick them all down at the same time, and that never, ever, ever works for me. I decided after the fact that I wanted the hot chocolate, or the little piece of chocolate, to be sticking out of this whipping cream. So I pulled out my little knife and cut a slit in that, which of course landed right on top of that foam tape. And had I thought of this earlier, I would have done it before the foam tape, not after. But whatever, it works. So here we go. Hot chocolate, whipping cream, and a bar of chocolate. For real, y'all, this is my kind of hot chocolate. Hot chocolate on hot chocolate on hot chocolate. So now the next thing to do is to figure out what I'm going to do with these marshmallows. And I'm not sure that you need, oh, sorry. First, I'm going to put the steam. And you're going to laugh a little bit because this is where my relationship with liquid glue becomes more enemy than friend. I cannot get these little steam things down without getting glue on every finger on both hands. I am not kidding. I had to pause the video and wash the glue off my hands after I did the steam. It is so ridiculous. I don't even know. How did I get out of kindergarten without getting glue all over my hands? I just don't know. So once we get the steam on, then we're going to go ahead with the marshmallows. And I'm not sure that anybody in their right mind would put marshmallows and whipping cream on their hot chocolate, but I have never been accused of being in my right mind. So I'm going to put one marshmallow on one cup and 2 marshmallows on the other cup because, why not? I can. It's my card. So then I pick up this big marshmallow and it just doesn't quite fit anywhere. So I decided never mind. And I'm going to go ahead and do the sentiment. Now the sentiment I'm choosing is from this a warm cup, or oh my gosh, what's the name of this stamp set? Let me check. It is called Hug in a Mug, and I'm using the sentiment that says hot chocolate makes everything better. And I'm going to stamp the hot chocolate sentiment part, on a piece of the same colored craft cardstock with some dark brown ink. That's an Alta New ink. I'm not sure what color it is. It was on my desk. It was brown. I grabbed it. So I'm going to stamp that with my MISTI and use that cloth so that my fingers can glide gently over the MISTI lid. And this is the little piece of paper I'm going to put inside my card to write a message on. And I use this little ruler to make sure that I have the sentiment strip in there straight. Eyeballing it is a bad idea for me. So, and I still think it went on there just a little bit crooked. I think the ruler moved just a little bit. So here we have our sentiments, and I'm going to cut down that hot chocolate piece with my Fiskars trimmer. This is the trimmer I use when I need to really be able to see what I'm cutting. I decided I didn't want to have everything else shaded and not this as well because, again, rabbit hole. So I pulled out that dark chocolate, or that dark brown, I wish it was dark chocolate, dark brown ink, and went around the edges of the sentiment strip And then I added it to a scrap piece of that same glitter paper that I used for the snowflakes. And I didn't want a huge border, so I stuck it on the paper first with my ATG gun and then trimmed it down so it had just a little bit of a border all the way around it. And then I decided I was going to adhere this to the card with foam tape because, hey, why not? A little bit of chocolate makes everything better. A little bit of foam tape makes every card better, right? So I get my Big Mama roll out. I get a piece of foam tape on that. And I start figuring out where I want the sentiment to go. Now, in my brain, I was thinking that, hey, this is going to fit just perfectly right there. Because why not, right? Except that the hot chocolate cups are already on foam tape, and now the sentiment strip is on foam tape, and they just were not going to layer quite right. So I ripped the foam tape off the back, and I had to put a new piece of glitter paper on the back, and then added glue, because then I could put the sentiment strip up just a little bit higher than hanging off the bottom, which actually does work better and look better. And then I added a little bit of foam tape to the ends of that sentiment strip so that it wasn't just hanging there flapping around and risking being pulled off. So, even if you use that foam tape roll a lot, it does last a really long time because I've had mine forever. So once I get this sentiment strip down, I am going to go ahead and put that little piece of white printer paper inside the card that has the other sentiment on it. Like I said, I think when I get this in here, this looks like it's stamped a little crooked too, even though I tried to get it to go all straight with the ruler, but whatever. So let me ask you this. Are you a hot chocolate drinker? Do you like cold chocolate? Does hot chocolate actually make everything better? My kids sure think it does. Thanks for stopping by. Have a great day.